Transform your perception and transform your life. These 7 levels of perception will help you do just that. Those 7 levels: victim, conflict, responsibility, concern, reconciliation, synthesis, and non-judgment. These 7 levels weren't developed by me. They were developed by... Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. They were developed in this book, Energy Leadership, by Bruce Schneider. Bruce Schneider is the founder of IPEC Coaching. A brilliant, brilliant mind. And he developed the 7 levels to help us interpret daily life and helping us interpret how we can better our lives. So let's talk about the 7 levels. Before we jump into the 7 levels, I want to talk about 2 energy forms: catabolic and anabolic. Catabolic energy is just energy that drains you, right? You just, it destroys, it breaks down, it's negative, it's not very good. Anabolic energy excites you, it builds you up. You get to construct out of anabolic energy. It's when you're in the flow, when you're feeling really good, when you're getting things done. That's anabolic energy. And these levels start out in catabolic and then they transition into anabolic. The first level, victim. Victim's catabolic energy, right? It's, you have a lack of interest, a lack of enthusiasm. You think everything happens to you. You think if it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck. You're acting with avoidance. You don't want to, you're avoiding the situation. You're avoiding the topic. You're procrastinating. You want to be left alone. You're just like blah, right? Like we've all been there. We all know exactly what I'm talking about. That's the victim. You have a lot of blame here. The second one is where I spent a lot of my time, and that's in conflict. In conflict, it's still catabolic energy. It's slightly better because now you're acting out because you realize something's not right and you want it to change. You don't know how to create that change. But it's still catabolic energy. It's still draining you. You're angry, you're frustrated, you're lashing out. People don't want to be around you because you're like that ticking time bomb. Oh, I might say something, it might set them off. Level 3, responsibility. Responsibility is where we're starting to make that transition into anabolic energy. We're starting to take responsibility for our actions. We're starting to offer forgiveness. We're starting to take responsibility for the decisions that we're making, irregardless of whether we actually caused the experience, the situation, whatever we're in. We actually took an action or made a decision that led us there at some point in time, right? So we're taking responsibility for that. And when we take that responsibility, we start freeing ourselves of the chains of conflict and victim. The 4th level is concern. In concern, you're acting with compassion, right? You can relate to someone's suffering or someone's pain or what they're going through. And you're offering them help. You're offering to take the edge off of the pain that they're going through, to make it slightly better. You're looking to help them. You're looking to aid them. You're looking to make it a little bit better. Number 5, reconciliation. Now we're starting to shed our ego here, and we're starting to really, really put ourselves out there. We're feeling calm and peace in reconciliation. We're looking for win-win opportunities. We're creating win-win opportunities. We're not just looking for them, we're creating them. We're accepting the present moment. A lot of acceptance of others for just who they are. And we're not portraying our judgment upon the situation. Synthesis is number 6. Synthesis is joy and excitement. Things are starting to really fire. We're really in the rhythm here. We're starting to actually create things here, like real big things. Synthesis is where we're taking ideas, either ideas from different areas of our lives, or I have an idea, my buddy has an idea, and my third buddy has an idea, and we combined all three of those ideas into a product, a system, a method, whatever it may be. When you're operating in synthesis, there's a lot of excitement because things are really firing. You're starting to really build your wisdom off the experiences that you've had and that you're going through presently. And then we move into number 7. Number 7 is non-judgment. And this is where it's absolute passion, unconditional love. Things just start appearing out of nowhere. It's crazy. We've all been there. Like, we've searched for something, we couldn't find it. And then 3 days later, it just appears. Or this happened to me. I needed a programmer, a web designer. And I happened to be out having drinks with a buddy of mine. And he said, listen, do you mind if my friend stops by? I haven't seen him in a while. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, we're out, we're having a good time. And his friend stops by. And it just turns out that his friend programs WordPress websites. And that's exactly what I needed at that time. Now, I didn't say anything to my friend. He didn't invite this guy because he knew I needed this. It just happened out of the blue. And that's when you're in that stage of things just, everything you touch just happens. Everything you're looking for just magically appears somehow. It's very hard to get up there. We don't spend a lot of time up there. We primarily spend the bulk of our time, especially if we're not using these 7 levels, if we're not being intentional with these 7 levels, we're spending the bulk of our time in levels 1 to 4, which is victim, conflict, responsibility, and concern. Let me give you a real quick example to tie all of this together. Let's say that you're sitting in the parking lot of the grocery store. And you're just sitting there, you just put your groceries in, you're sitting there, you're just like looking at your phone for a second, and all of a sudden, you feel that little bump. Bang! Somebody just backed into you. Alright? We can operate in any of these 4. We can be like, oh, this happened to me again, oh my God. If I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck. Why does it always happen to me? The other day I got a flat tire. The other day my battery was dead, and now this. Everything always happens to me. You can act out in victimhood. You could act out in conflict, which is how I used to act out. Right? I'd jump out of that car, and I'd be yelling and cursing at the guy, waving at him with the New York City wave, right? Yelling and screaming. I would lose my head. What are you, blind? You didn't see me sitting here? This big red car? What'd you do? Get your license out of a Cracker Jack box? Like, who taught you how to drive? Like, look, you got 3 mirrors on your car. Like, what's the matter with you? And I did that a lot. That's conflict. But now, maybe I take responsibility for actually taking responsibility for my part in that scenario. And that responsibility is I made the decision to go to that grocery store at that moment. I made the decision to park my car where I parked it. Now, yes, clearly the accident's not my fault. But I did play a role in that accident by the decision I made by parking my car. Out of the 100 parking spots, I chose this parking spot. It took me a really long time to understand that. But once I started really taking responsibility for the role I played in the scenario, whether I was in control of that scenario or not, I just felt like relief drain out of my body. I felt so much more alive. And number 4, concern, right? Maybe, and I do this a little bit more now. Like I could see myself doing this more now. I haven't been in a fender bender, so I can't speak to it. But I do this much more in life now. I act out of concern. So what's the difference if I get out of that car and I'm yelling and screaming, or I get out of that car and I walk over and I'm like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right? Do you need an ambulance? Did you black out? Are you good?" Because at the end of the day, regardless of how I act in any of those 4, at the end of the day, my car is going to get fixed. It's going to get fixed. We're going to exchange insurance information. We're going to go to the body shop. They're going to buff out the scuff, or they're going to take care of the dent, or whatever it is. The car is going to get fixed. And I found in different scenarios, not in the car accident scenario, but I found in different heated scenarios that when I act with responsibility and concern, at the end of the day, I don't even remember this happened. I'm going to talk about an instance. We're going to do more perception work on Wednesday. Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be back here again live, and we're going to do more perception work. And it's going to blow your mind. It's absolutely going to blow your mind. But when we do that work, I'm going to give you specific examples of things that have happened to me and how I've handled it, and how by the end of the day, I literally forgot it. But when you act in victim and you act in conflict, you keep replaying that story over and over and over in your head. And that's where it becomes that catabolic energy, that detrimental energy to you. So these are the 7 levels of perception. Bruce Schneider, Energy Leadership is the name of the book. It tells a story about how Bruce, fictional characters here, but Bruce goes into a business, and he walks the owner of the business through these 7 levels to improve his business. It's an awesome, easy read. It takes a deeper dive into these 7 levels. When I started using these 7 levels, and I started intentionally, because I'd act out in conflict, and then I'd be like, "Whoa, hold on a second." In my mind, I'd be like, hold on a second. Like, why can't I go over and see how they're doing first? Or when I was in victim, I'd be like, well, am I here because of something that I've done? Like, why am I feeling this way? I'm feeling this way because of this. And I walked myself up what I call the staircase of these 7 levels. And I've elevated my energy. And you could actually feel a difference as you start taking responsibility and concern, right? Number 3 and number 4. As you start transitioning into those, you actually feel a difference in your body. Because your perception is physically changing. And your perception is causing you to feel that way. Guys, I'm going to see you Wednesday, 1 o'clock, here live again. We're going to be taking a deeper dive into perceptions. I'm going to have some diagrams on the whiteboard. We're going to a whiteboard on Wednesday. Some diagrams up there to show you, give you actual physical examples of perceptions and how perceptions can change like that. We're going to be talking about eyewitness identification and how it's not very reliable for very specific reasons. And all of that's coming Wednesday, 1 o'clock. I'll be back here. I'm looking to see you back here. It's always results over excuses. Go out there. Be unstoppable! Crush it today, guys. I love you.